He welcomed me with false promises and love-filled charms, whispering to me seductive ways to live forever, opening his arms and showing me the riches that he promised were solely for me.
Filming paper.
He told me of eras gone by and made them sound like lullabies to my untrained ear. A world that would glisten before me if I chose to succumb to the promise. He spoke of streets paved with gold that I could float on and absorb. He told me I could transcend through the liminal spaces that he would show me, solely to me. He told me of whom he used to be, and that he could be my greatest ally if only I took his hand. He told me not to listen to the critics, that their jealousy was intent on breaking his promise with lies. He smiled, and I think in his reflection I was smiling too. All was silent, a silence that he told me was for me, and solely for me. The temperature dropped, and glassy-eyed whispers began to penetrate the silence. For a moment I couldn't see him, but I could smell his words on the wind that blew through my stasis making me take a step forward. He returned and smiled, a different smile to the one before. He gestured towards himself, admiring what he had become. It was for me, solely for me, is what he told me. He told me many other things that had become one in my memory, indistinct but vividly his. They all seemed to end with I. I was drifting in and out of his words at that time. He told me never to look back at the track from where I had come, because I wouldn't be able to recognize the path, but instead would only see others, looking at me for guidance, and this would stop me in my pursuit of his promise. This wasn't a warning, but just some factual advice, for me, solely for me, is what he told me. I asked some questions, but I can't remember what they were. But they were innocent and hopeful, and mouthed with the faintest of breaths, silent whispers, invisibly hanging from trees.
I'm in the moment. I'm in the moment.
He told me the breeze would find them a home, and that the trees were his eyes and held all his secrets, and that one day he would share them with me, solely with me. He told me the trees were here when he first began his pursuit for love, when he first initiated the promise. He told me he would be my greatest lover, and that I didn't need or shouldn't want to believe what came before, that I had no need to question his past. The path to glory is riddled with mistakes. He told me he was the now and the after, that he would be my world, and that if I adorned him, he would adorn me back, adorn me and solely me. As time went on, remembering what he told me began to become diluted and tainted with what I had become. Not that it was negative, not that it was positive. It was simply what I'd become, a sum of the parts that he had told me, in no particular order. He told me that I wouldn't always see him, but he'd always be there, for better or for worse, to always remember the promise, that he'd always be watching, and that he would protect me, reward me, and love me, solely me. He hasn't told me anything for a while now. Yet I still try to remember and uphold the promise. Where was I before it had all begun? Even he doesn't know where I will end. He once told me that darkness preludes light, or was it the other way round? Either way it was for me, and solely for me.